Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Poor Decisions, the true crime and wine podcast where we sip, spill, and solve some seriously twisted stories. I am your host, Bren, and today's case is going to sit with you long after your last sip. This is the story of the Doomsday Mom, aka Lori Vallow. So grab your glass, pour up, and let's dive in. Before we jump into tonight's case, let's talk wine. Tonight, I am sipping on the brand Double XL, and this is their Cali Extreme 21. This wine is so good. It is kind of a sweet red, but it's not super sweet. And this one, y'all, it has a percentage of 21%. So this is definitely one of those wines where one glass and you're good to go. But today's case is an extreme one, so we needed something to match the vibe. I want to know what you guys are sipping on, so let me know down below in the comments or head on over to our Instagram at It's Poor Decisions and let me know there, and make sure you follow as well. Now let's dive in. So tonight's case is one that you guys may have already heard about. It has been receiving widespread attention, and it is a case that just recently went to trial for one of the many aspects and parts of it. It is so many pieces to this story, so we have to start from the very beginning and give you guys some background information on everyone involved. So let's get started. Lori Vallow was born on June 26, 1973 in Loma Linda, California. Growing up, her family were active members of the LDS Church, LDS standing for Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormon Church. And throughout her life, Lori continued to practice and follow the LDS Church and its beliefs. So then we're going to fast forward. Lori is a mom of 3. Colby is her oldest son, who was fathered by Lori's second husband, William. She also has a daughter named Tylee Ryan, who was fathered by her third husband, Joe Ryan. And she adopted JJ with her fourth husband, Charles Vallow. JJ is the grandson of Charles's sister, Kay. JJ was born to Kay's son. They suffered from substance abuse issues, so JJ was taken in by his grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock. However, JJ was autistic, and Kay and Larry were older, so they felt that he would be better raised by parents who were a little bit younger, so they then asked Charles and Lori to adopt him, and they willingly did. And both Lori and Charles had kids from previous relationships, but none together, so it was perfect because JJ was theirs together. Now, unlike Lori, Charles was not a part of the LDS Church at all. But as a loving husband, he tried to understand, and he was very open to learning the different practices and beliefs behind it. He was so supportive in it that he even built a room in the house just for Lori so that she could practice her religion freely and that she could dance and sing to Christian rock as much as she wanted and as loud as she wanted without being interrupted. He wanted her to be extremely comfortable to be who she was. Now, according to Lori's oldest son, Colby, and I quote, "As time went on, the LDS Church was becoming a bigger topic in our house." He said it became almost as if she was idolizing it. All the pictures that they had in their house were soon being replaced by things that were LDS, temples and things of that nature. When they moved to Kauai, Lori met a friend named April Raymond, who was also a member of the LDS Church, and both April and Lori were members of the Hanalei branch. They quickly became friends, and according to April, Lori complained to her about Charles a lot. She did not feel that Charles was her spiritual equal. Lori stated that she felt as if Charles was always trying to play catch up because he didn't really understand their practices and beliefs of the LDS Church community. She said Lori wanted a spiritual dynamo for a partner, and she felt that her being attached to Charles was actually holding her back. And her beliefs had become a lot more extreme. April stated that Lori had told her that she had a personal encounter and had been being ministered by the angel Moroni. She claimed that this particular angel was communicating with Lori regularly. And Lori began to tell others that she was transcending into becoming an immortal being, and that she no longer needed to eat or sleep, and that she was constantly awakened in the middle of the night by angels giving her instructions on how to further the Father's work. And the LDS Church is centered around beliefs of being in the last days, the time is now, the second coming of Jesus. You got to get right before it's over because he's coming back like tomorrow. And she truly believed that the time was now and that Jesus was preparing to come and gather his people. Now, after Kauai, the family moved back to Chandler, Arizona, where Lori's oldest son, Colby, returned back to school. That's when he started dating Kelsey, who he would soon come to marry. Now, Lori, she was not too smitten on Kelsey, and she became infuriated when she found out that Colby had actually attended a Christian church with Kelsey. She even made a statement to her saying that Jesus loves you, but he loves me the most. Kelsey felt that Lori didn't like that she no longer had that type of control, and that in a way, Kelsey had taken Colby away from her. And according to Tylee's Aunt Annie, everything kind of started to change after the wedding of Colby and Kelsey. She said that Lori became really sad and distanced, and that there was a transition in the way that she spoke about her religion. She was much more focused on the end of times and talking about how scary it was going to be. She then started preparing by buying in bulk. I'm talking supplies that you would need if the world was getting ready to end. Lots of canned items, beans, powdered milk, tents, as if she really did believe that the world was going to end and she was going to have to be out here surviving on her own for quite some time. And Lori and her brother, Alex Cox, began to listen to podcasts and even joined an LDS religion-focused podcasters group. And that's when Lori met Melanie Gibb, who she would then later form a podcast titled Feel the Fire. According to Lori's family members, her new group of friends, they felt like odd ducks, is a quote that Lori's mother said. And Colby said that him and Tylee had multiple conversations where they felt that this group of people just felt weird, but they were just happy that their mom had friends. Then Lori began to attend religious conferences, and this is where she met Chad Daybell. And this is where we're going to take our next sip as this man enters into the conversation, because if you are familiar with this case, then you know. But if you're not, and this is your first time learning about this case, take a sip with me, because trust me, you're going to need it. Now let's talk a little bit about Chad Daybell. Chad Daybell was an avid follower of the LDS Church for over 30 years and had gone on multiple missions. Chad was also an author who wrote autobiographies about his near-death experiences and other religious novels. After one of his near-death experiences, Chad claims that he was able to have visions of the future. So then he considered himself to be a prophet. He also claimed that he knew exactly how many other lives other people had had, and that he could tell in people whether or not they were made upon light or dark spirits. And in Rexburg, Idaho, where Chad was from, he actually developed a following, people who actually supported and believed his claims. He told his followers that there would be soon to come an apocalypse, and when Jesus returned, only 144,000 people would be saved. And of course, if you really believe this, then you want to be one of those 144,000. Now, Chad was a speaker at a religious conference that Lori attended called Preparing of a People. And after the conference, Chad was selling books at his booth when Lori approached him. And they began sharing their thoughts and their opinions about their shared religion. And it was clear that they had a connection. Chad even told Lori that they had been married multiple times in different lives, and she believed him. She believed his words so much so that Lori then began to read his books. and then she became a follower or believer, whatever you want to call it. And for those who know Lori, this is when everything completely changed. Lori told her friend April, the one that she had when she was living in Kauai, that her husband Charles was already dead and that there was a demon living inside of his body as a host, and she was expecting a call in a few days that the demon would be dead. And the name of this demon was Ned or Nick Snyder. According to April, she said that Lori told her Ned, but when you hear the accounts from Charles, he uses the name Nick. So Nick or Ned Snyder, somebody and Snyder is taking over Charles's body, so, says Lori. Lori's husband Charles began to reach out to Lori's family members to try to get some insight on who this new Lori was that he was now seeing. Because it wasn't the same Lori that he married. She seemed like a crazy person. He even tried to get her a psych eval. But unfortunately, they thought that Charles sounded more crazy than Lori did. And when Charles spoke to her family, Lori told them that she had recently caught Charles cheating and that this was a response just to try to turn things around and make it seem like she was crazy so that then they wouldn't suspect that of them. So, of course, her family just chose to stay out of it and ignore it. They just thought it was a little spousal issue between husband and wife. And I get it. I probably would have kept myself out of it and minded my business too. But it was only Lori's brother, Adam, not the one I mentioned before that she watched the podcast with. That's Alex. This is Adam. Only Adam continued to accept Charles's calls. Now, on January 30th, 2019, Charles was to return home to Arizona from Houston, where he was for a business trip. But Lori canceled his flights home and had her brother Alex go to the airport and take Charles's truck. After Alex removed his truck from the parking lot, he then came to their home and removed all of Charles' belongings from the house that Charles and Lori shared together. And of course, this angered Charles. It confused him, so much so that when he finally was able to return to the house and he couldn't get in, he had to call the police. So let's watch that encounter. We have some body cam footage, so let's check that out.
What's going on tonight?
Can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me. Yes. And she said,
how did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed," was what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me. Today
Okay.
before
What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
Law enforcement, however, considers to be of sound mental health, and the incident was dismissed.
So at this point, the couple decided to separate. Lori stayed where she was in Arizona, and then Charles decided to go back to Houston where he was working, but he would still return weekly for visits with the kids and to pick JJ up. Now, during this time, Charles discovered a fake email that was sent to a Chad Daybell, supposedly supposed to be from Charles. And in that email, Charles was asking for advice about writing the book and trying to line up some meetings to come and meet Chad. But Charles knew he had never actually wrote those emails. He put two and two together, having an affair. So Charles messaged Lori and threatened to tell Chad's wife, Tammy, "Yes, guy, Chad Daybell is married." Charles also talked to Lori's brother, Adam, who agreed to fly out from Kansas to Arizona to meet up with Charles and their other family members on Lori's side to discuss Lori and her recent behavior. But unfortunately, that meeting never got to take place. The next morning on July 11th, 2019, Charles was set to come to Lori's house to pick JJ up to take him to school. When Charles arrived to the house, Lori's other brother, Alex, was there, which surprised him. And what happens next, Charles couldn't have prepared for. While inside the house, allegedly, an altercation occurred, and Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex.
The address of the emergency?
5531 South Four Peaks.
And is that a house in Chandler?
Yes.
And what is the emergency?
I shot my brother-in-law
Okay, what part of his body is injured?
in the chest,
Okay, is he awake and responsive or unconscious?
unconscious.
Okay, is he breathing?
I can't tell.
Okay, are you willing to go over to him and check?
Sure.
Okay, do you just let me know if you see his chest going up and down? How old is he?
It's not moving. He's 60.
Okay, and are you wanting to start CPR?
No, I don't know how to do that.
I can walk you through it.
Okay.
Where's the
Okay.
gun now?
It's in the other room.
Okay, just keep going with those compressions. Petey, did you have any other questions?
Yes. What's your name, sir?
My name is Alex. Last name is Cox, C-O-X.
Who else is there in the house with you?
Just me.
What's his name, your brother-in-law?
Charles Vallow.
His last name, I'm sorry.
V-A-L-L-O. Vallow.
Police and medics are on the way to help you.
Thank you.
How long ago did this occur? Did it just happen?
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes before I called.
Okay.
Who else is in the house? Okay, just have a seat right there. Let's get FD in here. Have a seat.
18 feet secure. We got the gentleman out.
You have some ID on you, sir?
Yeah.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know. He was enraged.
What's going on? What happened?
He was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
Okay. Was he living here or
No.
visiting?
He came to pick up his son.
Okay, is the son inside?
No. My sister took him to school.
Okay, so it was just you at the house?
Yes.
And he came, how long, what time did he come to pick up the son?
I don't know, 20 minutes ago maybe.
Okay, so you know who he is, let him in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think they were talking earlier, then she left, and then he got into it with me.
Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know. He was accusing me of. He was just yelling at me.
Okay, what was he yelling at you about?
About my sister because I've broken up the tussle with them earlier. And he told me not to interfere anymore with them or I'd pay. And he came at me with a bat.
Okay, so he showed up in the house with a bat in his hand?
No.
Okay, so
There was a scuffle earlier with my sister and my niece. My niece got involved.
about earlier meaning earlier this week, earlier
No,
this morning?
just this morning before they left.
Before your wife left?
My sister.
Before your sister left?
Yeah.
Okay, who lives here with you?
Nobody. I don't live here. My sister lives here and my niece lives here.
And you're just visiting?
I was visiting for the night.
Okay, so you're over here visiting your sister and your niece.
Yes.
Okay, and there was a tussle between your sister and her husband.
Yes.
And does the husband live here or no?
No.
Okay.
He was-
Okay, is he an ex-husband or just current husband?
They're working on that.
Gotcha. So at some point earlier today, they get into some type of domestic?
Yeah, just this morning, then they left, and then he came at me.
They left meaning who? Both of parties? Or,
Yeah, my sister took my niece and my nephew.
so they left.
Create some space for him, and then he came at me.
Okay, but did he leave also?
No,
He stayed here.
he stayed.
So you guys are kind of talking in between or what? And kind of go through it.
So-
Say something like, hey, don't touch my sister, or
Yeah, so yeah.
okay.
And then he picked up the bat.
Where was the bat at? Is this vehicle here? How did he get here?
Is it here from Texas? No, that's my sister's car. I think he came in a rental car. I think his sister's in it.
You think your sister's in the rental car? Okay. So you get in an argument? What is it over?
Well, it was over my sister. He was getting physical with her, and so my niece came out with her bat, and then he took the bat away from
Wait a
her.
minute, I thought you said your niece left.
She did. This was before.
Okay. So before your sister and your niece left,
Yeah.
at some point your sister and her husband are arguing,
Yes.
verbal argument, and then your niece pulls out a bat.
Well, it wasn't verbal. He was getting close, and she came out to defend my sister with her bat.
Your niece.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she poked at him, and he took it away.
Okay.
And then I stepped in and told them they needed to separate.
Right.
So then my sister leaves with my niece.
And how long ago did they leave? been like an hour, 10 minutes?
20 minutes maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so not terribly long.
No.
Oh, okay.
And then he's coming back at me, and he's still got the bat in his hand. I'm like, what are you doing?
And where are you at? Where are you both
in the
at?
living room.
Okay.
And then I turned around, and he hit me in the back of the head with the bat. So I went to my room and got my gun. So I would carry it.
You went to your room, meaning the room you're staying in?
Yeah.
Okay, and you brought a gun with you?
Yes.
Do you always bring a gun?
I have a concealed carry always.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi, who are you? Okay, just stand over there for just a second, guys.
And then I told him to put the bat down, and he wouldn't, and he came at me again.
And the wife just showed up as well. So you told him to put the...
Yes.
So where are you at?
Back
Where are you at now? Did you stay in your bedroom?
No.
Okay, why didn't you stay just in your bedroom, close the door? Is that something you didn't think about, or?
Didn't even occur to me.
Okay, so walk me through it. So you go back in your room.
So I just went back in the living room, like, what is your problem?
With the gun in your hand?
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down, and he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again, after he'd already hit me in the head, so I shot him to stop him.
So yeah, if you can just kind of tell me kind of what happened. It sounds like some of this may have started last night or something along those lines. Right. So start where you think it makes the most sense.
Okay. So, I
told you. It's a crazy question.
Well, he's always mad at me, right? Okay. And he doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. Like, so we married for 14 years, we dealt with it for 14 years, of him being horrible to her. Me and him have always kind of not gotten along, like just since I was little. And so there have been a few times that we've gotten in fights and stuff like that, and so so I'm just kind of always scared of that.
Yeah.
He came over in the morning and he's like banging on the door. I'm like, oh great, here we go, And I was just gonna be nice. I'm just gonna be nice as possible. And I had JJ stuff all ready for school. And so.
Do you remember about what time we got there?
He said he'd be there 7:30, but it was more like 7:40-ish or 7:35. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember looking at the clock, and he wasn't there at 7:30, and he's usually Mr.
Punctual.
Yes. So I was like, okay. He was just being real smirky and real like jerky, to me, and I was like ignoring him, whatever. And so he was like,
your brother lives there with you?
No.
Okay.
He had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was gonna come over and cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother. And
so this morning he comes back in and...
He comes back in, I wouldn't give him his phone. He was screaming at me to give him his phone. He was very worried about whatever was on his text that he did not want me to see. And so I was just holding it there, and he was screaming at me. And I was kind of walking around the house with it, so he couldn't get it. He's like reaching for it and stuff like that. And so Tylee came out of her room upset, and she had a bat, and she told him to leave her mother alone, right? So she was really whatever, and he's screaming at her, don't you hit me with that bat, blah, blah, blah.
Like, is there a reason you put the bat up?
Yeah, he was walking towards my mom, and I just didn't want him to do anything, so I kind of just stuck out the bat. Like, my mom was right beside me, and he was right there, so it wasn't, like, between them.
Okay.
It was kind of just, like, I just stuck it out to be, like, keep your distance, kind of.
When you say you didn't want him to do anything, what did you think he was going to do?
Hit her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, for the most part, been pretty, like, mundane, but there have been a few like violent times with him when I was really scared that he was gonna hit me or hit my mom, like just because everything was kind of crazy.
So Tylee goes outside.
Yeah, she was outside, and
then what happened?
Then they got up from that, and my brother had like stepped back, I guess, and then Charles was coming with me at the back and yelling at me to give him his phone still because I had it in my hand. It was all really quickly, and then. And we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot. And
so you heard the shot? Did you actually see see the shot, or did you just hear it?
I had gone around to the kitchen to get away from him and so back around. So I don't know if he went in the house.
I didn't, so I'm like a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, so I didn't see the shot. I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground.
Okay.
And was freaking out.
Yeah.
And so I was just freaking out, and it just went into mom mode. I'm like, I've got to go to get JJ to school. I've got to get to the kids. I just felt like I got to get to the kids. And so I just went outside and to see if they were in there okay. I didn't want them coming back in the house when all that was going on. And
and you may not know this, so, because I know you heard the shot. Do you know at what point your brother had the gun? Do you know if he had it when they got in their first fight, or did he have to go get it, or do you know that at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Does your brother normally carry a gun? Like, I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Right. Like, I know he's a gun person. Like, he has guns and things.
Okay.
He's good with guns. And
did you know that he had one with him?
No.
When he came over?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he's very, very professional with guns.
Proficient, professional. Responsible is usually a good.
Right, but responsible with guns.
As all the other witnesses had similar stories, police did not investigate murder further.
I think after that, we definitely deserve a wine break to kind of settle our nerves, so let's have another sip. Okay, let's get back into it. And so much of this story that we just heard from the body cam footage, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up to me. I'm going to still try to hold my personal opinion until the case discussion and just give you guys the facts. But in my personal opinion, I really feel that the police dropped the ball, and it kind of angers me. Like, throughout the footage, you see, like, they're giggling, they're making jokes. Like, Lori is such a manipulator that it's just so easy to overlook her. But the giggling and stuff like that, like, what is funny? Separated or not, this was your husband, and you share a child with him. Just personally, I don't see what's funny. Like, she kind of has no regard and no concern at all. Like, your husband was just shot and killed by your brother, and she has no concern at all. I feel like a normal person would care a little bit, have some type of concern, and she displays absolutely none whatsoever. That she texts Charles's kids, yes, text them to inform them that their father was killed. Like, who does that? And then when they were responding to her to ask questions about what had happened, she stopped responding to them. And then just 4 days after Charles is killed, Lori contacts Charles's life insurance company to submit a claim so that she can cash in on the $1 million life insurance policy, but only for her to find that she was no longer the beneficiary. Before Charles's death, he had changed his beneficiary to Kay, his sister, JJ's grandmother. And of course, Lori was pissed. And after this, Lori took the kids, Tylee and JJ, and they packed up and they moved to Rexburg, Idaho. Which, remember who else lives in Rexburg, Idaho? You guessed it, Chad Daybell. Now let's fast forward to September 24th, 2019. Lori's oldest son, Colby, sent a text to Tylee's phone to wish her a happy birthday. But the response he received back just didn't sound like Tylee. He said the punctuation was off, the dryness of it was off. He did not believe this was Tylee, and he called it out. He contacted his mom, Lori, who told him that Tylee would just call him back when she was feeling up to it. And a couple days after that, Lori completely turned off Tylee's cell phone service. Now, this all troubled Colby, and it just didn't sit right with him. Colby and his wife, Kelsey, discovered a document that had been previously emailed to them from Charles prior to his death, listing all of their family and friends in a number system. Now, this system would calculate someone with a number and a letter of either an L or a D. Now, let's rewind a little. Remember when I first introduced Chad Daybell? Yep. And he was claiming that he could tell people's spirits based upon being light or dark. So you guessed it. The L represents light or a good spirit, and the D represents a dark or a bad spirit. And the numbers were between 1 to 6, but the higher the number, then the more good or bad you were. So let's discuss the list. On this list listed Alex Cox, Lori's brother. He was listed as a 2L or 2 light spirit. Lori was listed at a 4.3 light spirit. Kobe Ryan, Lori's oldest son, was listed as a 3 light spirit. Kelsey Ryan, Kobe's wife, was listed as a 3 dark spirit. And Tylee Ryan, Lori's daughter, was listed as a 4.1 dark spirit. Now, the one that I do not understand was Charles Vallow. According to this list, he was listed as a 3 light spirit. But remember when I told you guys that according to Lori's friend April, Lori had told her that Charles had been taken over by some demon and that it wasn't really Charles. Remember, it was Ned or Nick Snyder. So according to this document, it listed him as a light, but according to the way that friends say Lori spoke about Charles, it seemed that he might have been to them what they described as a dark spirit. So that one has a question mark for me, but let's move on. And who sent this email to Lori? None other than Chad Daybell. But get this, who else was on that list? Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, was listed as a 3D dark spirit. Chad texted Lori about Tammy being taken over and transcending into a zombie. He said that she had been switched. And Tammy was in limbo and her body was taken over by a spirit by the name of Viola. And that Viola was a level 3 demonic spirit and that it had happened at 10 p.m. was when Viola decided to take over Tammy. And on October 19th, 2019, healthy 45-year-old Tammy Daybell died in her sleep. Chad claimed that the night before, Tammy was seriously ill. She was coughing and throwing up continuously throughout the night, and that when he had awoke that morning, she was just dead in the bed. And Chad did not want an autopsy, and the medical examiner ruled Tammy's cause of death as natural. And Chad Daybell cashed out her life insurance policy for over $400,000. And just 2 weeks later, on November 5th, 2019, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell got married in Kauai, Hawaii, raising all the red flags. And the biggest red flag is that the same ring and the clothes that they wore in their wedding was purchased on Amazon, get this, using Charles Vallow's Amazon account 2 weeks prior to Tammy Daybell even dying. They purchased these rings and their clothes on October 2nd before, like I said, before Tammy was even dead. What shows right there, it casts some doubt because how do you know 2 weeks before someone is dead that, oh, let me buy some rings, let me buy some outfits for our wedding, we're going to get married? It's the biggest red flag and kind of almost a giveaway. But I digress. Let's keep it going with the facts. And during all this time, no one had still actually talked to Tylee and JJ. Lori literally, when they moved to Idaho, she cut off contact with everyone. But on November 26th of 2019, JJ's grandmother, Kay, became suspicious and she contacted Rexburg police to do a wellness check because she had not been able to get in contact with Lori and speak to JJ. While police were conducting the wellness check, Lori told them that JJ was staying in Arizona with a friend, Melanie Gibb. Yes, the same Melanie Gibb that she previously did the podcast with. However, initially police tried to contact Melanie and she did not answer. But later on, when police were able to get in contact with Melanie, she did indeed tell police that JJ was not with her, which raised yet another red flag. And then the very next day, Rexburg, Idaho police returned with a search warrant, but to their surprise, both Lori and Chad were gone. And that is when investigators discovered that the last time that Tylee Ryan was actually seen was September 8th, and JJ was not seen since September 23rd. Now let's fast forward to December 11th. Authorities exhumed the body of Chad Daybell's late wife, Tammy, to investigate her cause of death further. See, now everyone is starting to question all the events that are starting to unfold. And then the very next day, December the 12th, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, passed away. Now, medical examiners did later rule it as a natural death due to Alex having a pulmonary embolism and he had blood clots in his lungs, which their mother did confirm that was something that did run in their family. So it was indeed a natural death. Now, from here on out, we're just going to strictly follow a timeline. There are some other things and events that do happen between, but right now I want to stick to the nitty and gritty of the details of Tylee and JJ, so we're just going to follow a distinct timeline. On December 20th, 2019, Rexburg police officially announced that Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow are officially missing persons and that Lori and Chad Daybell are person of interest who somehow just seemed to vanish. But on January 25th of 2020, both Lori and Chad were spotted in Kauai, Hawaii. And that's when police served Lori with a court order requiring her to produce her children within 5 days.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? What happened to Tammy, Chad? Can you tell us what happened to Tammy? Why have you guys been in Hawaii for so long? Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I've got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children? What do you guys plan to do now? You have 5 days to get your children in front of a judge in Rexburg, then what? Are you guys innocent of any crimes? Have you committed any crimes? Chad, you guys have a lot to say on your podcast. You don't have anything to say now? Lori?
And the way that this case is kind of unfolding, I'm sure that you guys can probably guess or figure Lori did indeed not produce her children within 5 days. And then on February 20th of 2020, Lori was arrested in Kauai on 2 felony charges of desertion and non-support of dependent children. Her bail was set at $5 million. Now, fast forward to 4 months later, on June 9th, 2020, police execute a search warrant of Chad Daybell's Salem, Idaho property. And this is where he previously was living with Tammy Daybell. And this is where the remains of both Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow are found in the backyard.
And what did you observe when they did that?
There was a white plastic underneath the black plastic, and they also used the white instrument to cut through the white plastic.
Okay, and what did you observe when they did that?
I observed what looked to be brown human hair.
Okay.
It was what appeared to be a small body tightly wrapped in black plastic, covered in duct tape.
Okay.
I'm pointing to a fire pit on Mr. Daybell's property, just northwest of the fire pit. There is what we've referred to the pet cemetery, and it's just north of the pet cemetery where I helped excavate.
What did you observe?
I had been away from that area, but when I returned to that area, they had already dug down and located what would appear to be a mass of burnt flesh and charred bone.
The initial body that was found was JJ. A photo of JJ taken on September 22nd, 2019 shows him wearing the same red pajamas that were found on his lifeless body. and what you just heard the detective describe as a burned mass of flesh and bone was what remained of Tylee Ryan.
It is believed that when Chad sent Tammy this text about a raccoon being in the backyard and him having to shoot it and bury it in the pet cemetery, that he used this story to create a cover so that Tammy wouldn't think anything different when she might have come home and saw that there was a fresh burn pile or a freshly dug grave. He made it all covered up for. And Chad was arrested the very next day on felony charges related to concealing evidence. And on May 12, 2023, Lori Vallow was found guilty of all charges, which include the first-degree murder of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, conspiracy, and grand theft relating to Social Security benefits. Lori received multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. And about a year later, on May 30th, 2024, Chad Daybell was also found guilty on all charges, including the first-degree murder of his wife, Tammy Daybell, first-degree murders of Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow, conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and grand theft related to insurance policies and Social Security benefits. Chad Daybell was sentenced to death by an Idaho jury. And to bring all the justice together, just last month, Lori went on trial for her role in the murder of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. And on April 26, Lori was found guilty for conspiring to murder Charles. Prosecutors argued that her and her brother, Alex Cox, plotted the murder to benefit from the $1 million insurance policy, as well as to create a way for Lori to be able to be with Chad Daybell. Lori is currently now serving life sentences for all of the murders of Tylee Ryan, J.J. Vallow, Tammy Daybell, and now her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. But get this, Lori, she can't get too comfortable yet, because coming up in June 2025, Lori is set to go to trial again for the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. Like, the amount of deaths and attempted deaths attached to this woman is crazy. And that wraps up all the facts of the case. I know this has been a super long one, and I know it was a lot. And for this case, it was hard for me to even come up with a discussion question, because for me, I'm like, whatever they said she did it. I don't care what nobody say. Like, whatever it is, she did that shit, point blank. But I was able to come up with a case discussion, and it's pretty simple. As we heard, that Chad Daybell was ultimately sentenced to life, whereas Lori Vallow got multiple life sentences. So I want to know from you guys for today's case discussion, how do you think that goes? Do you think it is fair? Do you think that they should both, Chad and Lori, both be sentenced to death? Or should they have both just been given life sentences? Let me know. That's what I want to discuss with you guys. So for this case discussion, you guys know this is all my opinion. And I want to highlight that on the case discussion, this is all my opinion. In the same way, I want to hear you guys' opinion in the comments down below. So let's get into it. Let me let you guys know about what I think of all of this, okay? And I'm going to try to do it in the nicest way possible, because the way that I feel about this case and about Lori, I don't feel any nice type of way regarding them. Any type of death and murders involving children is horrible, especially your own fucking children. I don't understand. I'm not even a mother, but whether you're a mother or not, I do not understand how someone can do such a thing to their own kids. But let's get into the case discussion. Again, my own thoughts and opinions. This is my take. In my personal opinion, quite simple. I think, honestly, the amount of deaths involved in this situation, I feel like they both should receive death. Chad Daybell, you guys got it right, because how dare you use your religion to kind of back your own twisted mind? People say that she was manipulated by him. Whether that was the case, in fact, I don't know. I don't even care. But Lori Vallow, it shows how much of a shit mom and person she is. Now, granted, there have been accounts where Colby has said, you know, her oldest son, all his life, she's done nothing but protect them. So he believes that, you know, when she came into his life, when Chad came into her life, that's when things changed. That backs up everyone saying that he manipulated her. Me personally, I don't care. I don't care. If you could do something like that, especially to your own children, to allow someone else to come into your life and fuck your mind up like that, to where you would allow anything to happen to your children like that, that speaks a lot to who you are as a person. I don't care how you were up until now meeting him. It all comes full circle. Like she said, my whole life comes full circle. I have to meet this person to do this and do this to do this. No. Again, in my personal opinion, I feel like they both should have received death. There were so many people whose lives were taken and affected by what they did. You took the life of Charles. You took the life of your own daughter, your own born daughter, Tylee, JJ, Tammy. Now you're about to go to trial for Brandon. Like, it's just crazy. It's ridiculous. And for those who still defend her, because I saw some stuff out that like her sister was still kind of like, no, she didn't do that. And when I stand on it, whatever they said she did, she fucking did it. And I don't want to use too much vulgar language, but I wish nothing good on her, on him either. And it's just crazy that you guys used God, Jesus, your religion to define and make reasoning for why you guys did what you did. But in the end, you guys will have to pay for it from God. I don't think that God will tell anybody that, oh, if you want to make it to the promised land and be with me in the end, you are to off your whole family and get rid of these people. I know there is a story in the Bible where, forgive me, I know a little bit about the Bible, but I don't know every single word and chapter of the Bible. But I know there is a story where God told someone that he had to sacrifice his son. And that when he was getting ready to do it, then God said, no, you don't have to really do that. That was just a test. But like, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to offend anyone. So I definitely want to watch the things that I'm saying. But based upon all that the Bible says and is made up of, there's no way that you could actually think that Jesus is coming to you saying to do such a thing. And like, for real, mean it. Like, I don't know. Again, like I said before, I feel like the police dropped the ball in countless ways. They were so smitten by Lori that they could just giggle and kiki and be like, oh yeah, she's not crazy. He's crazy because he said all this stuff about her. So stuff like that, like when you don't listen, so many cases and things like that that you have happening with children, people are calling authorities to try to help children out, but then the authorities, based upon their training and what they're, supposed to look for, it's like, oh, this person doesn't seem like a threat. They're fine. And the whole time, when you look beneath the surface, they are a threat. They are the biggest threat. And unfortunately, that was a case like this. Had the police maybe listened to Charles the first time around, maybe he would still be alive. Maybe both Tylee and JJ would still be alive. We don't know, and unfortunately we'll never will know, because that's not how these type of things work. But let me know your guys' opinion. I really don't have a long discussion because I feel how I feel. Again, it's no changing it for me. They both should have received death. Chad, I think you got exactly what you deserve because, like I said, how dare you try to use your religious belief to back this? You're a prophet, and people are dark spirits and light spirits. I think that he may have possibly had some type of stuff going on, but then you used it for your advantage. I think that once you saw that, oh, I could lead a people and people believe what I'm saying, they might fall to me and flock to me. I believe he took complete advantage. So you got exactly what you deserved, death. Have fun with that. Lori, even seeing how Lori, other stuff is still coming out, I feel like Lori should have got death. It's too many people, and then her own children to be that. So I definitely feel like justice was not served on that part. I guess for some people, they feel like, oh, if you get death, then you take the easy way out. You should sit in jail there where you spend the rest of your days having to think about it. I get that too. But for me, in my personal opinion, again, this is just my personal opinion, all the lives that were affected, taken, and changed by their actions, I honestly, truly believe and stand by they both should have received death. And I'm sorry to say it, but they should get death in the most uncomfortable way. Whether, I don't know how they're doing it these days. Whether y'all are lethal injectioning, electrocuting, give them both at the same time. And that's my opinion. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that they should have both received death? Should they have both received life? Or do you think that, you know, they got what they got and that's rightfully what they deserve? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe here and then also follow us on Instagram at It's Poor Decisions. There is currently a documentary on Netflix. It's a docuseries that's 3 episodes long. It's called Sins of Our Mother, and it is based on this case. And I do highly recommend you guys to watch it. As much as information and facts that I gave to you guys about this case, there's still so much more details that I skipped over for the sake of time and keeping it just at what was solely important. Like, I didn't even get a chance to even give you guys the details and talk to you guys about the shooting of Lori's niece's ex-husband. I just let you guys know that next month she's going to be on trial for it. But in the Netflix docuseries, they definitely do touch on that. So again, I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. Please watch this for yourself. Again, right now, this is a prime case that's being talked about in the headlines right now, mainly because she was just recently on trial for Charles Vallow's death, and then because of what she has coming up. But definitely, guys, inform yourselves, do your research. This is definitely a case that's truly heartbreaking, but this is one of those cases that you can really go on a deep dive through because it's so many pieces to it. But once again, guys, I thank you guys for tuning in with me tonight, and I hope I did not weigh your hearts down too much with this case. I just had to cover it. Also, if you tried this week's wine of the week with me, then let me know your thoughts in the comments below too. I love this wine. It tastes good. It has a hint of sweetness, but a lot of potency where, like I said, all you need is 1 glass and you're good to go. So for this week's wine of the week, I'm going to go ahead and rate it with 3 out of 3 cheers. Yes, you guys, now as we're trying wine, we're going to be rating it out of 3 cheers. So this one for me gets 3 out of 3 cheers. It's good. It's going to hit you. I feel it already. And make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at It's Poor Decisions, where every week I will be teasing the wine of the week in case you guys want to try it with me. So again, let me know your thoughts below if you did. And as always, I thank you guys for tuning in and joining me. If it's your first time here, then welcome. And if you saw us last week, then welcome back. But until next time, make good choices and not poor decisions.